Asuka and Asuka is a vertically scrolling arcade shooter developed by Taito Corporation and released in 1988. The game falls under the shoot 'em up genre, where players control a fighter aircraft and engage in high-paced combat against waves of enemy forces. In the game, players take on the role of two pilots, Asuka and her partner, another pilot named Asuka, who fight their way through various stages filled with enemies and bosses. Release date and development. The game was launched in 1988 by Taito, a well-known company in the arcade game industry. Taito had a history of creating popular arcade hits, such as Space Invaders and Bubble Bobble. While not as famous as those titles, Asuka and Asuka was part of Taito's effort to tap into the growing popularity of shooter games in the late 1980s. Gameplay and features. Asuka and Asuka follows the standard format of many arcade shooters of the time, where players move vertically across the screen while avoiding enemy fire and obstacles. The game is noted for its two-player cooperative mode, allowing two people to play together. The graphics and visual effects were vibrant for their time, and the soundtrack added to the high-energy feel of the gameplay. Each level culminated in a boss fight, which often required strategy and skill to defeat. The main goal is to shoot down enemy ships and dodge incoming bullets. Players can collect power-ups throughout the game, improving their firepower and defensive capabilities. The gameplay, though straightforward by today's standards, was challenging, which was a common trait for arcade games in the 80s. Players were often required to learn the patterns of enemy movement and attack to progress. Inspiration behind the game. The creators at Taito were likely inspired by the success of previous scrolling shooters such as Xevious and 1942, both of which gained significant popularity in arcades earlier in the 1980s. As with many games in the genre, Asuka and Asuka drew inspiration from science fiction and futuristic air combat themes. The game aimed to deliver an intense, fast-paced experience that would keep players engaged, which was crucial in the competitive arcade scene of the time. Reception and impact. When Asuka and Asuka was released, it received a moderate reception from gamers and critics. It was appreciated for its smooth controls and cooperative gameplay, which were strong points for arcade titles. However, it didn't achieve the same level of fame as some of Taito's other arcade hits. While it developed a small fan base, it remained somewhat of a niche title in the genre. Over time, the game became more of a collector's piece, cherished by retro gaming enthusiasts who enjoy exploring lesser-known arcade titles. It wasn't a groundbreaking game, but it stands as a good example of the arcade shooter era. Fans of the genre who revisit Asuka and Asuka today often appreciate its nostalgic value and its place in Taito's broader history of arcade game development. If you liked the video, subscribe, like, and write to me in the comments, what do you want to be the next arcade game that we will learn the story of? Until next time, be well.